Good morning.
Back. All right. Lesson 26. My attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability. It is surely obvious that if you can be attacked, you are not invulnerable. You see attack as a real threat. That is because you believe that you can really attack. And what would have effects through you must also have effects on you. That's a big one. It is this law that will ultimately save you, but you are misusing it now. You must therefore learn how it can be used for your own best interests rather than against them. Because your attack thoughts will be projected, you will fear attack, right? That's the guilt in our mind. We're projecting it out there, and then we're expecting punishment, and all of that attack that we've projected comes back in countless forms. And if you fear attack, you must believe you are not invulnerable. Attack thoughts therefore make you vulnerable in your own mind, which is where the attack thoughts are. Attack thoughts and invulnerability cannot be accepted together. They contradict each other. It's a good reminder to know that what we are in truth as ideas in the mind of God, and that the separation has never occurred. We are absolutely innocent, and our innocent is the law of our invulnerability. We cannot be attacked as ideas, okay? But if we're harboring attack thoughts in our mind, then we must believe that we are not invulnerable. While we harbor attack thoughts in our consciousness, we'll never be able to accept our invulnerability and our innocence. Okay.
Our immunity to all attack, basically.
Yes.
That's what he means by invulnerability. Do you think we could just stop here for a second? Because it took me an awfully long time to assimilate and then to finally get.
Yeah.
And this may help for those who are just beginning with these lessons for the first time. There are others who are watching this who've probably done the lessons a few times. But for those beginners, just to again speak about what fear is, where that fear comes from. And, fear of disease, fear of pain, fear of conflict, fear of abandonment, fear of betrayal, fear of loss, whatever. All that fear, they're the attack thoughts, right? What they come from is our belief in sin, our belief that, of course, we are sinful. I mean, this is so deeply submerged in the unconscious of the ego thought system. Yeah. And what we do is, while we believe in sin, in other words, practically speaking, Sis, and you can jump in and help me with this if you feel too, is that while we still persist in judging others and in being totally triggered by others and really believing that they deserve punishment in some way, or that they should be guilty for what they've done, well, we still believe that. It's the ego, right?
Right.
That's our guilt. That is our unrelinquished, meaning unforgiven guilt that makes us feel this way through the ego thought system. And while we're still valuing all of that, and we're not practicing forgiveness as Jesus teaches in the Course, we're going to expect punishment, right? Because we value that attack. So we're going to expect punishment. And it's that sense of expecting some kind of punishment coming from somewhere that projects fear. That's where all fear comes from, is that sense of guilt that we have, that through the ego we want to see in everybody else but not in us. Right. I was going to say something else, but I forgot. Sorry.
No, it's good. And I love what you just brought up. It reminds me of how if I believe that I am Coreen and I am this body, well, this body is daily proof by second proof that I have successfully separated from God, who is spirit. Okay, so while I have this core belief that this is what I am, then I have sinned. I have done the unpardonable and the unforgivable by attacking God and attacking the sonship. So the ego says, you are sin incarnate. And the punishment, the sentence on sin, that's punishable by death. And so death doesn't come right away. It has a lot of lesser forms. But if we're walking around believing that we are sin incarnate, then we are in a constant state of conflict and guilt and expecting to be the recipient of this wrath of God for what we've done. And so we will have, the body will be attacked, and our bank accounts will be attacked, and our relationships will have conflict in it. The body will fail, and ultimately the body will die, because that is the sentence for sin. The Holy Spirit, however, lovingly comes in when we're inviting it to say, no, my child, you have been mistaken. You thought that the separation occurred. The separation has never actually occurred. You simply dreamed a dream that was so fantastic that you actually believed that this figure, the mythical me, is you. It was a mistake. And if you're willing to agree that it was simply a mistake, you've moved your problem into the realm of the Holy Spirit, who can then take it from you, heal your perception, and then heal whatever that the seeming attack will be dissolved, removed from your experience. So while we want separation, we protect that separation by moving it into the realm of sin, where the Holy Spirit can't reach it. But if we're ready to say, no, we were merely mistaken, the Holy Spirit will say, great, then I can take that from you and heal your mind. So I think that
has permission then, right?
Right.
Yeah. So before we go on, let's look at the state, our natural state. Yeah, our natural state, without the ego thought system, without valuing the ego thought system, is one of sinlessness and guiltlessness. Where there's sinlessness and guiltlessness, there is incorruptible innocence. That's the truth of what we are. That's what God knows of us, whether or not we believe we've sinned, right?
That's the truth.
So that's the changeless truth, is that we are sinless, guiltless, and incorruptibly innocent.
Yes.
And that's changeless, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. So one thing that took me years before I could understand this, and I really would like to shortcut this for any viewers now of this, is to understand the concept, or at least begin to open our mind to understand the concept of our innocence. It's not the ego's kind of innocence, right? So the only way the ego can be innocent is if it makes someone else guilty, right? There's the polarities, right?
Yes.
But when the only way that we can know our incorruptible innocence is if it's genuinely shared with everyone.
Right. Because
if it's not shared with somebody else, then we are still going to be fearful, because we're going to believe we're going to be attacked.
So give an example, like say, if I want to tout myself, the ego wants its own version of innocence, and we call it false innocence, and it's always at the hand of your brother's guilt. So I'm innocent. My brother attacked me. It's his fault. I wouldn't be going through this if it wasn't for him. If he would change, then I'd be okay. I'm unfairly treated. That is the ego's definition of innocence. Our innocence, though, is our innate status, our condition, because God declared it. But we can't know that unless we know we have not separated. And the only way we are going to know we haven't separated is through the experience of truly joining with our brother through a shared experience. So when we feel the shared innocence, when we view our brother as wholly innocent, desiring to see only the face of Christ, that holy instant occurs where what you've extended, you receive. And in that holy instant, all separation, all differences, all separate interests fall. And in that dissolving, you experience your oneness so that your innocence is felt and shared both ways. And that's a feeling state where you know your innocence. And that's your invulnerability to the ego, its attack thoughts, its so-called laws, right? When you know that you're innocent, you cannot be attacked.
That's it. And you can feel it when it happens, you know? It's like a magnet.
Yes.
Eventually that's all you want. You can't
That's right.
bear the feeling of judging somebody, because you know you're judging yourself and condemning yourself to death.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's the ick.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, thank you. That was great. So attack thoughts and invulnerability cannot be accepted in the same place in the mind because they contradict each other. So we're always one or the other. We're believing in attack or we're knowing our invulnerability, but you can't try to entertain them both at the same time. So the idea for today, my attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability, introduces the thought that you always attack yourself first. If attack thoughts must entail the belief that you are vulnerable, their effect is to weaken you in your own eyes. Thus, they have attacked your perception of yourself. And because you believe in them, those attack thoughts, you can no longer believe in yourself, who is invulnerable. A false image of yourself has come to take the place of what you are, mythical me. Mythical me who can be attacked, who seems to experience loss and broken ovens and pet mice being eaten. Yeah.
Yes, this is big, you know. This is that. So we always attack ourselves first.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Well, I think before there's a projection of our mind, we have to establish what we think we are. And so that first decision is we look within and we decide, am I the Holy Son of God? Well, then I know what I am. And my mind would only project images of love and peace and joy and innocence and safety. If I look within and see a fallen mortal, the separated one, then I am guilty. So that's the first attack on myself, is the misperception and identifying with an ego thought system. That's attack number one. And then of course I'm projecting that out. That's attack on my brother, right? So the first attack's on ourselves, and then we project whatever it is we've determined about ourselves first.
Okay. So, just going back in the archives of my memory here, I vaguely recall around about this lesson of having another wave of tremendous guilt come upon me while I was doing this lesson number 26, right?
Mm-hmm.
So can we just talk about, just briefly, that when we see this, well, at least for me, when I saw this, that I always attack myself first, etc., I went into double guilt again. Okay. I began to judge myself for judging.
Right.
And I can't say it enough. As soon as that happens, we've got to see that that's the ego wanting to judge us, right? So it wants to do anything but actually give all of those judgments to Holy Spirit. Just surrender them all to Him in exchange for His healing of our mind, which is a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
So no guilt,
No
self-judgment for this stuff.
And to see this with gratitude, that all you're doing is taking back projections back into the mind, which is the place where the correction can happen. It's not to compound guilt, to say, oh, I've done all of this, you know. No, you're not taking responsibility. You're taking accountability, bringing it back to where it arose to begin with. We think that we're victims of the world. We're going to recognize the world is actually arising from my mind. There is where the healing can happen. That's where we can give it to Holy Spirit, and Holy Spirit can take it and heal our perception through the miracle and through our forgiveness. So this is an empowering move, not to accumulate guilt. Yeah. And really at the end of this, I mean, it's really just understanding that our thoughts are the only thing that can attack us, but we're not quite there yet. But that's the good news. There's really nothing out there attacking us. We can only suffer from our own thoughts, and that we have control over.
Well, that's what choose again means. In every moment, we can choose again.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so end of paragraph 3. A false image of yourself has come to take the place of what you are. Practice with today's idea will help you to understand that vulnerability or invulnerability is the result of your thoughts. Nothing except your thoughts can attack you. There's the good news. I know it doesn't sound like it, but nothing but thoughts can seem to attack you. Nothing except your thoughts can make you think you are vulnerable. And nothing except your thoughts can prove to you this is not so. He's saying that the whole battleground, the whole correction, the whole place of our interest and our attention is at the level of our thoughts. Never anything external, never ever having anything to do with the body. We don't have to try in our relationships. We need to heal our thoughts. Only our thoughts can seem to attack. Okay, 6 practice periods are required in applying today's idea. A full 2 minutes should be attempted for each of them, although the time can be reduced to a minute if the discomfort is too great. Do not reduce it further. The practice period should begin with repeating the idea for today. My attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability. Then closing your eyes and reviewing the unresolved situation whose outcomes are causing you concern. The concern may take the form of depression, worry, anger, a sense of imposition, fear, foreboding, or preoccupation. Any problem as yet unsettled which tends to recur in your thoughts during the day is a suitable subject. You will not be able to use very many for any one practice period because a longer time than usual should be spent with each one. So fewer with more attention is better than buckshot. Today's idea should be applied as follows. First, name the situation. I am concerned about my oven. Then go over every possible outcome which has occurred to you in that connection and which has caused you concern, referring to each one quite specifically, saying, I am afraid blank will happen. I am afraid I will not be able to cook. I am afraid I will not have warm brownies on a cold night. I am afraid I will let somebody down if I don't cook Christmas dinner. If you are doing the exercises properly, you should have some 5 or 6 distressing possibilities available for each situation you use, and there may be many more. It is much more helpful to cover a few situations thoroughly than to touch on a larger number. As the number of anticipated outcomes for each situation increases, you will probably find some of them, especially those which occur to you toward the end, less acceptable to you. Try, however, to treat them all alike to whatever extent you can. After you have named each outcome of which you are afraid, tell yourself, that thought is an attack upon myself. Conclude each practice period by repeating today's idea once more. My attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability. So this concern that we have is actually covering up fears that we have, and the fears that we have are the attack thoughts. So was it ever really about the issue itself, or was it the feeling state that it was giving your mind? Depression, worry, anger, a sense of imposition, fear, foreboding, preoccupation. All of those are different ways in which fear and guilt manifest in our mind. And each one of those creates some sort of contraction. So the smoke and mirrors is the oven. It's the duress that it's creating in thought that the ego wants. It wants you to think that it's about the oven, but really what it's relishing is the mind that is fretting or in a state of foreboding, because that blocks the peace necessary to hear the voice for Holy Spirit. That's the running interference, so that we stay in the realm of meaninglessness and not being still and allowing Holy Spirit to teach us something new, because there's no room while we're fixated on a problem. So that's what we want to get from these 3 lessons.
Very, very well explained. Thanks, sis.
Yeah,
that's so helpful. I wish you'd come to me 30 years ago and explained that to me then.
Yeah, I wish somebody had helped me too. Yeah, it's the squirrel. It's the ego saying squirrel, and it doesn't want you to see what's going on in the back room. It's not about the problem that as you perceive it, it's the stress or duress that the mind is under that it craves. That's its protection. Okay, got it. Thank you. I understand it now. I love my oven. I'm so grateful for that conflict. I got the jewel, sis.
That's great. Isn't it great? Now he can bring you a beautiful gift, another gift on top of getting that, right?
I wouldn't be surprised if I went over there and flicked it on and it worked. Now that I got it, I don't need it for a lesson any longer.
Well, that often happens.
It does.
Right? That's how sickness is healed in the body.
Yes.
We get the lesson and it's healed.
Oh my gosh. Is there any other greater smoke and mirrors than a sick body? Boy, we get so tangled up in that, right down the rabbit hole, and we are consumed with trying to fix the decoy instead of getting to the anxiety that's underneath it. Yeah. I love this. We're on our way out, guys. We're unsnarling the ego thought system. That is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the best thing that's happened since the Big Bang.
That was the biggest squirrel ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, thank you guys for traveling with us through lesson 26. Boy, we're like halfway, sis, if we're doing up to 50.
Oh, it's wonderful.
It is wonderful.
And having so much fun doing it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we love you guys and thank you so much. And we'll be back next week with lesson 27. Mm-hmm. Sound good?
Yes.
Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.